दुग्गल साहब तो नहीं, but गिल साहब आज anchor हैं instead of being the cricket expert. Uh, when the schedule came out, everyone was looking forward to this fixture because everyone thought, this fixture could really be a top billing fixture where, teams in the top four will be going head to head. Maybe one team fighting for qualification into the semis, or one team just wanting to finish ahead of the other. But yeah, I don't think anyone would have thought that this clash would turn out to be the clash between the number 2 team on the table versus the number 10 team on the table. So there's a surprise. We may not have had as many close games in this World Cup, but there have been enough surprises so far. Uh, so on that note, I'd like to welcome both our experts today, Anirudh and Nikhil. Nikhil's there in his India jersey. So am I. Anirudh, as we all know, is he's like those guys from Three Idiots. आज वो cricket की तरफ से हैं. He's not an Indian supporter. He anyway has his loyalties with Australia, but regardless, we do look forward to a good discussion with both of them. Nikhil, first thoughts on the game. It is supposed to be a used pitch, maybe a dry deck. So, what do you expect?
Yeah, I think at the pitch report, Nasir Hussain made a very good point, which I agree to, that you would want the pitch to spin a bit and not more. Because if it spins more, then you have the generous of India side coming through with gifting wickets to Moeen Ali, to Joe Root, to Adil Rashid. And the thing is, it will not be in your control because anything can happen then. But if it spins a bit, if it's overall still a good batting deck, that's where the skills will show up both for batting and for bowling. So even though it's a dry deck, I'm hoping it will still a good batting wicket so that we get a good game. And again, by good game, I'm not asking for a finish like the Dharamshala one, but a good game where you are into it for some amount of time. So let's see the changes that two sides make. Very keen to see if India are tempted in a change, and what are the wholesale changes England make today for the game.
Do you think India could really bring in Ashwin, or in the absence of Hardik, that's not really a realistic possibility?
Yeah, Anirudh, you can ask, you can take
I
it.
mean, I was having the feeling that maybe today India might rest Bumrah. I don't know. I mean, I just feel that there is an avenue for India to rest Bumrah so that it's like midway point of the tournament, and let's be honest, semi-final qualifications already sealed. And even if they don't win today, they should probably win at least one more match. And even if they don't win another match, they qualify for semis probably anyway. And so that, I mean, if there is Bumrah now, it will ensure that he will still get some game time before the semi-finals. You don't want to be resting him for the Netherlands match and going into the semi-final without having played a match in like 8-9 days or whatever. So I just feel that considering Lucknow and everything considered, I feel they could probably bring in Ashwin for Bumrah today. That will also be a good test for the other seamers because especially Siraj has been very reliant on Bumrah to do all the hard work, and he's been kind of bowling carefree, you can say. Like he's just been going all out, looking for control or whatever. So resting Bumrah will give India an extra challenge, and considering how England have played, maybe India need to challenge themselves more than England having to challenge India. So I think
The Aussie fan really can't stop taking pot shots at England. But otherwise, do you really think it is sustainable for India to really go in with only two pace bowling options? Because I don't feel it is genuinely possible, because there are at least two areas where you need your pacers to bowl. One is obviously, with the new ball, and then in the death. And coming to Bumrah, we have some numbers about how well he's done in the last 10, where he's taken wickets with probably all the deliveries that he's bowled. The off cutter, the one coming in, reverse swing, Yorker, and the slower bouncer. So, really, I mean, is it really something that India can think of, Nikhil, of resting Bumrah?
Not sure whether they might be tempted to go that way unless there is something that they want to just take care of in terms of precautionary measure, because you still want to not take it for granted that you will go through, which you may eventually, again, whatever said and then permutation combination wise. But it's just about being in good rhythm. And sometimes you see with players taking that call for themselves that I want to play. And that is something you can trust Bumrah to know that better and have that word of him, ke, no, I'm sorted. Don't worry about me. I'm good. With regards to two pacers, I think it's a strategy where you can go only when you're 100% sure of how the pitch is going to play, because then it doesn't matter if you have only two, because then you can use Kuldeep at the end, and it will not be a bad ploy if it's a dry deck. So you can use Kuldeep's 3-4 overs in the back end with a pacer if you want that way. And if you're supposing playing three spinners, you could actually start with Ashwin in the power play Jadeja in the middle overs, and have Kuldeep for the end also. So there are many options, combinations possible, but resting Bumrah might be a bit too early also. Maybe they'll do it after they've guaranteed that they've qualified. Maybe after that it may happen.
Yeah, usually we take questions towards the end of the show, but a good question from Pranav has come in. He's asking, have seen so many interviews, even from those who are part of the England dressing room recently. They are all befuddled how a team with this depth and talent can perform like that, certainly. He continues, do you think it's a case of one department losing faith in the other, or is it just not about clicking together? South Africa had a similar team when they were losing a couple of years back. I have seen sometimes with India too before the rise of Siraj, the ODI bowler. Anirudh, you want to go first on this one?
Yeah. Look, I mean, personally, I feel that this is not something like England have fallen apart suddenly, because if you look at what they've done in ODI cricket in the last 18 months to 2 years, they have been very subpar. I mean, they've almost lost every bilateral series they played against big teams. They lost to India at home. They lost to South Africa at home. They lost to South Africa away as well. I guess they got whitewashed away in Australia. So I mean, this team has been shaky for a while in ODI cricket, and if you look at everything from top to bottom, it's like it's they just hope that okay, that's what they believed. Actually, they thought that these players are too good, they won't fail, so let's pick them, they will definitely perform. But again, look what happened in the tournament. They have not performed. You look at someone like Bairstow, who's been out of form like 2 years in ODI cricket. Joe Root has barely played any ODI cricket for like last 2 3 years. Josh Butler, again, on and off. Then you look at Liam Livingston, who's probably not an ODI player at all. He's still a T20 player who's been shoehorned into the 50-over format because of his X factor. Ben Stokes, retired for what, 2 years now. He's barely played in ODI cricket just because he scored a 180 against the New Zealand attack that had like, that didn't probably were full strength. Doesn't mean that he's suddenly going to be your savior in the World Cup. So, and of course, we all know about their bowling attack in absence. They have not replaced someone like Liam Plunkett for like 4 years. They don't have the X factor that Jofra Arce provided them in the 2019 World Cup. And also, that's the same case with someone like a Mark Wood. They just thought that, oh, he bowls 150, so he'll definitely take 20 wickets in the middle overs. That hasn't happened. And also, I'd like to point out someone like a Sam Curran has been he's still a bits and pieces player. He's not someone who would walk into any team as a pure bowler or a pure batter. He's not developed as an all-rounder. He's still relying on his bits and pieces parts. And Chris Wokes has probably declined as an ODI bowler in the last 4 years due to his age and all those factors. So I'm not personally too surprised by England underperforming, but what I'm surprised is definitely by them being 10th on the table. Do I expect them to win today? Probably not, but they desperately need at least a couple of more wins to, you know, restore some pride. Otherwise, it will
To not they need a couple of wins to not ask for the demise of ODI cricket. Let's just put it that
be
way.
exactly.
Nikhil, do you agree with what Anirudh has said? And I have a follow up question on that. Do you think England made a mistake or probably did not read the conditions correctly by not including someone like Liam Dawson as a left arm spinner? Because them and Australia are the only two teams without a left arm spinner.
You see, like Anirudh pointed out, many reasons, and this probably campaign could be a very good example of how just big names are not going to be enough if they haven't had the game to back that, uh, you know, character and whichever way you look at it. Because see, one thing that you understand is the kind of cricket that England want to play. it's a kind of cricket that needs a lot of confidence and it needs a lot of role clarity, because without that it is unlikely that you will be able to pull it off over a period of time. So when you have a limited amount of game time in this format, that confidence isn't going to come. When you are chopping and changing very often because you want to obviously prioritize test cricket and T20 World Cups, because that's what's happening at that point of time, the players aren't getting enough time in that template to be able to try things out. Okay, okay, let me try this here and see if it works for me. So what you're eventually going by is, I think England have entirely planned their campaign on just relying on their past experience. Okay, we will find a way to adapt, and I don't think that has happened for them. So which is why whichever call they've taken, be it Chris Wokes. Now, if you actually think of it, there have been movement in many venues. You will think that Chris Wokes should be able to exploit it. You will think Sam Curran should be able to exploit, but they haven't, because they haven't played enough in either in those circumstances or enough as a group also in such conditions to realize that, okay, if this is not working, this is what I'll go to. And by the time they go to that plan, the game's done. So I think it's a combination of a lot of factors of them relying on individuals more than just looking to build a very good team. We have talked in depth about Ben Stokes, that I mean it's just a very easy way out to allow somebody. I mean to not. I mean if this was done by Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, or any other subcontinental side, again not being any bias here, there would have been so much of uproar that how do you have a player coming out of retirement, because that's what we assume कि अरे बेन स्टोक्स है वो तो कर ही लेगा, but where is that assumption coming from? So he may have done it in 2019, but he was still part of the cricket playing as an all-rounder. What you have to realize, what India have been missing with Hardik Pandya, England are missing because of Ben Stokes. They aren't able to play that all-rounder because Ben Stokes is not bowling. So you have to take two more people into the side. And today they don't have Sam Curran. Now again, the problem is they have gone so much away from their plan that you don't even know whether it's the right call or the wrong call. So
Yeah.
it's a combination of a lot of factors, and the side completely losing that confidence and the role clarity that now what do we do? Because you don't have a fallback plan.
Just I just like to add like one small point before we move on from this topic, which is someone like a Phil Salt can feel really hard done by, because he's been playing ODI cricket for England for the last 1 year. He's had a pretty good start to his ODI career, average of nearly 40, strike rate of 130 plus. But then they had to drop him and they had to obviously replace him with Bairstow. Understandably, but if you look at Bairstow's form, again we discussed about it plenty of times, averaging under like 20 for the last 12 or 13 matches now. So these kind of small things where a reputed player has come in and that this reputed player has not had form, and that has carried over in this World Cup, and so that has hurt the team in turn. So we'll see what happens today, but I am personally not too surprised that England have had a bad campaign.
Yeah. So, there's a slight delay for us to announce what happened at the squad, but that's because we were in the middle of a good discussion. So, Sukhveer Singh came with the update. He said that it's the same squad. What he means is the same playing 11 for both teams as opposed to the last game. And we finally have something which a lot of Indian fans have been looking for, which is for India to bat first today. So, England clearly have won the toss and chose to bowl. India are batting first. So, we can expect a lot more people to tune into the game from the first ball straight away. Uh, Nikhil, happy with what happened at the toss? Do you think this is a test that India should relish? This is a challenge India should relish, or would you have liked India to bowl first because there's no Hardik, so the batting ends at 7?
No, I am very happy they have to bat first, even more so because now Rohit thinks it's a fresh wicket and it should play well in both innings. But Ravi Shastri said it's a dry deck. You could see patches on the deck. So again, classic pitch report there. So you don't know what to expect, and
Just saying,
that could
if I go with my bias, I'll trust Rohit more with the pitch than Ravi Shastri. But that's just me.
Yeah, and see that is which is something that you can never be sure of. It can go either way, but it's a good test for India because you will get such surfaces in the tournament where you may read it differently, the opposition will read it differently. So very good test for India to see what tempo they go on, because when you're chasing, it's also slightly easier to take those risks as well because you know what you're chasing and you can plan it far better. But when you're batting first, we've discussed time and time again where we've almost all criticized the sides batting first for not being able to stay up with the tempo. And this is where Rohit Sharma's most runs in the overs 1 to 10. This could be a very good game to see how that turns out. And what are the tactics that England employ, to India, because it's the first time for India. And you look at the bowling attack: Chris Stokes, David Willey, Adil Rashid, Mark Wood, Moeen Ali. It is still more based in terms of medium pacers with cutters and variations with one express pacer, and there is a longer square boundary, if I'm not wrong, in Lucknow. So that could really come into play today. So good test for India, and I don't think they should have changed. So yeah, let's look at it.
Yeah, now we'll move on to the next section of our preview, which is the key battles for today. Anirudh, coming to you first. Now that India are batting and England are bowling first,
Yeah.
which battle do you think would you look forward to, and do you really think can set up the game for both sides?
hmm Look, it's it's difficult to point out that this is the battle that will define the match, because again, England have been poor from top to bottom almost in this World Cup. So I can't say that this is the battle that will define it. I Last match I picked Johnny Basto as my X factor, but again he's had a very poor tournament. But I'd still go for Basto versus Bumrah in the chase. I just feel that I still feel that Basto's too good a batter to go an entire tournament without making an impact. And I feel that if he could get off to a flyer, I mean, see, he's had like two mini good starts, like against Sri Lanka, against New Zealand, against Bangladesh. He didn't get away like from 30 of like 18 balls or something like that. But I feel that if he can get away that rapid start where he can probably score like 40-50 runs within like 25-30 balls, then that could really get England going and re-energize the entire lineup. So Basto versus Bumrah, I feel that it's a battle that could go really either way. Right now I'm favoring Bumrah about like 70%, 30% only in favor of Basto. But if that battle goes in favor of Basto, then I feel that we might finally see England probably play the way we know that they used to play. I just feel that could be a key battle.
Nikhil, coming to you, which battles are you looking out for today?
Well, whenever India play England, we've seen one pattern with them with spinners, and they go hard in the middle. When England do well, India is playing the same side. So today could be a great day to see whether Kuldeep's life has come full circle, uh, because home venue, bowling very well. He was able to come back against New Zealand as well. So I think it's Kuldeep and Jadeja versus the England middle order. They haven't played spin well at all in this World Cup so far, England. And remember, England are yet to chase a score in excess of 250. Today could be the day that changes. I don't know. It could happen. But this battle could go a long way in deciding whether India have to look for more bowling options, or the two spin options that India have in Jadeja and Kuldeep, they should do well. So I think in terms of that, the battle between Root, Stokes, Butler versus Jadeja and Kuldeep could really go a long way in deciding which way this game goes.
Okay, even people in the comments are coming up with their key battles. Vishal here is saying Virat versus Adil Rashid is a key battle. I'm sure no one can forget the expression that Virat had in 2018. It turned into a whole meme. But there are some numbers for this World Cup. Virat versus pace, actually in 5 innings has only been dismissed to pace. You could argue that those dismissals are also not, dismissals which really tell you about a weakness, because one of those dismissals came while he was going for 100 in the last game, and one I think came versus Pakistan where he was just carried away and just wanted to go for it, and the other came versus Hazelwood when the match had been finished, and he's really not been dismissed versus spin in this in this tournament so far, uh, guys. But I was reading our preview. If there is one team spinners against who he's struggled, it's England, because I think both Adil Rashid and Moeen Ali have got him out thrice. So could one of them, again get his scalp today, or do you expect Virat to do better and maybe who knows come out attacking versus Moeen Ali?
Yeah, I think you could go for that. But before, let's continue the tradition that if you're watching this, please like. Every like is the score that Virat score. Virat has every run is what Virat has today. So let's continue with that good tradition also to ensure we have a good,
Yeah, we
plug in there.
we
Yeah,
need
fine.
minimum 49 likes. You know why?
Uh,
It's
See,
it's
he
because
averages.
it's not because we are trolling RCB here. Let's
Uh,
let's be very clear about it.
नहीं भाई ये RCB Lucknow Paji is trying to play some games. I don't know, uh, but see numbers for Virat against England probably only said the average is less than 50, and it just tells you how great the standard is. That sometimes people don't have a career average of 43. He has his worst average, which is 43. So uh, there are some numbers to look out for Moeen Ali, Adil Rashid. I think a lot will depend on the start that India get today, because while chasing, in every game you had a par in the Australia one, you had a great start. And what that does is it doesn't mean that the numbers 3, 4 or whoever is batting has to take too much of risk in terms of going after any particular bowler type. But if you're batting first, that is different if you don't get a start. So I think how much and how well he goes with his spin will be determined will be determined by the start India get, and also who is he batting with. Because if it's Rohit who he's batting with, it will be a very different battle. If it's Gill who is batting with, it will be a very different battle. So I think it will not be just a singular factor of Virat versus Moeen Ali or Adil Rashid. It will be a combination of who he's batting with, what starts India have got, and again, at this point of time, we have no clue how the pitch is going to behave. So you just expect India to get to a position that let's get to a good start and then stay at 4.55, and then look to accelerate once you've got a good idea of this is how the deck is. So I'm expecting India to be a bit aggressive, but not looking for like a start of like 75, 80 in the first 10. Let's just go as per the merit of it. If it is flat, not doing anything like what happened with New Zealand Australia yesterday, then you can go for your shots. But because it's the first time that you're doing it's a good test.
Yeah, just because Nikhil mentioned Rohit, just wanted to show this stat that we had, that in the ODI World Cup history he has the highest average for someone who has a minimum of 1,000 runs. I would just hope that for India's sake and for India's chances in this World Cup, that this average keeps on going higher and keeps getting better. Now we move on to the next segment of our show, which is the X Factor. Anirudh, you've probably said that you would go with Bairstow as the X factor once again today.
No,
No,
no. I
okay,
said I went with him last match, but
okay,
I back him to be a key player. I don't think he'll be the X factor. I have different X factors. So
okay. So
yeah,
go
for
ahead.
England, I have Adil Rashid, because I feel that he's probably been the best English player in this World Cup, even in this miserable World Cup for England. He's been a standout, especially the way he slowed down his pace according to the surface. We saw it in the South Africa match, we saw it in the Afghanistan match, where despite the top order getting the opponents off to a flyer, he's come in and he's casually just, casually just pick wickets by slowing down the pace of the game, pace of the ball, and all these things. And I feel that especially he'll definitely tempt guys like Rohit Sharma and Shreyas Iyer to, hit sixes
Okay.
and take him on. And you know that Rohit and Iyer and even Gill are like batters who won't hold back. They if they see a ball that's there to be hit, they will want to hit. And if Adil Rashid has made a career out of something, it's that he's not afraid to concede a six to, take a
Get
wicket
a
in the
wicket.
next ball, or like maybe he's even brave enough to concede two or three sixes to take one wicket. So that's such a it's a big battle, and I feel that Adil Rashid versus the Indian middle order slash top order, whoever wins that battle probably wins this match. I get that feeling. And when it comes to India, again, I'm gonna go with a very obvious pick. I'm gonna go with Rohit, because I just I just feel that he's been invincible the way he's batted in this World Cup. Even in that Australia game, yes, he got a very rough call. It was an umpire's call, but you look at what he's done since then. It's like he's been untouchable, right? So considering how England have been extremely toothless up front with the new ball, they've pretty much gotten whacked by everyone, and they lost their only good bowler in Reece Topley as well. So I feel that if Rohit does not get out within the first 2 or 3 overs, it could turn really ugly for England. So for India, it's Rohit, and for England, it's Adil Rashid.
Nikhil, your X factors, because there are people who are asking for your X factors for sure. Chinmay is, probably send his second or third comment.
No, it's a tricky game, more so because of the unsure nature of the deck. Because that could really change away a lot of options that people are trying. So, I agree with Rashid being a good call for England. For England to win, I feel one guy has to definitely come good, and without him coming good, it will not happen for them, and that's Joe Root. So I think if whichever the kind of deck it is, whether it's a good deck or a spinning deck, Joe Root is massive for England, and he could potentially come in and bowl as well, and he can bowl to righties as well. It's not a problem there. So I think Joe Root is going to be probably the biggest factor for England. With Bairstow, I'm slightly tempted, thinking that if it's a dry deck, and if the new ball is the best time to bat, that's the only time Bairstow can really get a great start. And that could really help England also. It may not be a great for 50, 60, but it could still be a very aggressive 40 early on. But again, he has to still combat Bumrah for that. So that's from the England side of things. From India, we've already talked about Kuldeep. So today could just be a very good day for KL Rahul to really have a good show while batting first. Again, playing at a very crucial spot. No matter what happens with the first four, I think he will get to bat, and India need to finish well, no matter how they start or how they are placed. So I think KL Rahul coming off very well. I wanted to go with Shreyas here, but there is longer square boundaries, and we don't know the exact nature. And Shreyas at times takes a risk earlier than KL. So I think banking on KL to be able to gauge the surface, and so far he's looked very good. So KL Rahul and Joe Root.
My
Adi,
X factors were, Joe Root. I also had him as my MVP. And while we've spoken of Milan's form, I do think that it's for Milan. It's just been that one big knock versus Bangladesh and not much to follow. And with Root, there have been those first 250s in the first two games, and then not much to follow. So hoping that he comes good today. You also need a lot of your experienced players to step up on a big day. While the big day might have already passed England this tournament, it would be good if Joe Root could really light up the tournament at least once in this World Cup so far. So Joe Root's that guy, and yeah, the second pick is something again, which is which I'll have to take from Nikhil, because KL Rahul again has had a lot of time here at Lucknow. He would know the pitch. Even in the last IPL, I felt that whenever the pitch was tricky, he was just able to accelerate his innings well. There was that one odd game versus Gujarat where he got dismissed, but despite the deck being a slower one, he was still able to find the boundaries quite comfortably. So again, uh, in the when it comes to those X factors, we have the same picks. But a few other comments have come in, which I'd like to take. Kanan B is talking about Mark Wood versus Shreyas Iyer could be a good battle. If Iyer falls to the short ball trap again, that would dent his confidence for the rest of the tournament. Anirudh, you have something to add on this?
No, I agree. I mean, that's a very good comment as well. That's a very good battle that Kannan has picked. Uh, Look, we saw he got out to Trent Bolt, I guess, from around the wicket in
Yeah,
the New
Trent
Zealand
Bolt
match.
in Dharamshala. Yes, yes.
Yeah. So, and Mark Wood is someone who can really target the armpits, and he gets the ball to rise as well. And also, in a wicket like Lucknow, playing the pull shot can always be tricky because the bounce is rarely true. Like it's almost always, either inconsistent, or maybe sometimes it does not skid on as well as batters would like it to. So of course, and I would be very interested to see what will happen if Iyer fails, like say the short ball, and Surya has a good cameo. Will then management then be tempted to bring in Hardik in place of Iyer rather than Surya if that happens? I mean, that's another interesting little subplot to look forward to. But we've been saying this before every match. We'll say it after. We'll say it before this match as well. Big game coming up for Shreyas here.
Yeah. But by the way, Mark Wood's also kind of a local boy today, given he also
Yeah.
plays for Lucknow. Akhil Nair has another interesting observation. He says, under lights, would love to see Shami get the new ball. Maybe Siraj comes in first change. With swing, he can cause trouble to England's top order. Nikhil, if I'm not wrong, we discussed this when Hardik got ruled out after the Bangladesh game, that maybe that allows Siraj to operate with more protection in the deep, and probably, allow India to attack and be far more tighter with the new ball. But I think,
Yeah.
the way Siraj bowled in the last game, I feel they'll probably stick to the same plan.
Mm.
Uh, a lot of other comments that have come in here.
Also, I don't, while we wait for the comments, do you think what role do you see for Livingston and Moeen Ali today with the ball?
With the
Because
ball.
again, Willie and Vokes, they will bowl with the new ball, and if there is some movement, they'll probably do better. But do you see Moeen Ali being used tactically anywhere along with Livingston?
Yeah, I mean, I feel they should be brave enough. Butler should be brave enough to bowl Moeen even to the right-handers, especially if the wicket is a bit dry. Because I can almost see one way of getting someone like a Virat out could be him chipping one to like short mid wicket or like cotton bowl or wickets like that on these kind of surfaces, and that usually happens only of off spinners more often than not. Like we've seen Virat do that as well in the past. So you know you can't just because see India don't have a left-hander. They have Jadeja at like 7. That's the only left-hander in the 11. So
Mm,
there is no point picking Moeen Ali and then being afraid to bowl him to the right-hander. So
correct.
I don't know about Livingston. Maybe if one of Wood, Willie or Vokes are expensive, maybe he'll be used to like get through the overs. But or maybe they want to like just keep things tight. But
Mm,
Moeen could actually be a proper offensive option, attacking option. Livingston are more of a defensive option. That's what I feel from
mm,
today's match.
Yeah. Talking of Moeen, Kanan B is coming up with his insight or his observation or maybe an idea. England could promote Moeen to number 5 to tackle Jadeja and Kuldeep, but Butler could move to number 6. If I'm not wrong, this happened in the first game, right, versus New Zealand,
Yes,
where
I
Moeen
agree.
was dismissed by Glenn Phillips. Do you think
So
something like this happening today once again, or not really?
should I think it should happen because if you I wrote an article after the Sri Lanka match, and if you look at Butler's entry points, especially in this World Cup, they've been everything except for one match. It's everything has been under 20 overs. In the last 3 matches, it's been under 15 overs, and Butler is being wasted at coming in so early. He's not supposed to be building the innings for like 25 innings and then 25 overs and then trying to hit out for the last 10 overs. Butler should be used like more like someone like a Klassen or someone like a Maxwell where he can just walk in the last 15 16 overs and absolutely create havoc. So I completely feel that Jadeja and Kuldeep need to be tackled by Moeen. There is no point holding Moeen back because Bumrah will probably feast against Moeen towards the back end with his bouncers and his cutters and all. So and India only have 5 bowlers today, so it's a win-win situation. If they bring back Bumrah to play to bowl against Moeen, then it means that the Butlers and the Livingstons don't have to face too much of Bumrah towards the back end because India would have already used up overs of Bumrah in the middle overs. So it makes all the sense in the world to promote Moeen today, especially after what he's done to Kuldeep in the past. We know he has a good matchup against Kuldeep. So
Yeah, so we're probably 2 minutes away from the first ball. Predictions, Nikhil, why don't you go first? And then Anirudh, we can come to
Ah,
you.
I'll stick with my favorite, but this time probably a different score because I'm really unsure of after that pitch report. But I don't know. Let's go with 308.
308. Okay.
Yeah,
That's one
uh,
shot of Virender Sehwag's Multan
yeah.
score.
I know. I know.
I-
I know.
I'm going to go with like 332.
332 and 308. I think I'll probably go with the mean of the two scores, which is probably what, 320? Yeah, yeah, 320.
Good to
So
see everyone is so confident that England would definitely concede 300 on this track. So
Again,
so
hoping it's not 200. So yeah, better
yeah.
to call 300.
Yeah, I think we all of us are hoping, or making or do we make the result prediction at the mid innings, because
yeah,
today is a mid innings
Yeah,
show as well.
yeah, yeah,
yeah.
So yeah,
definitely.
we leave something for the mid innings show. So on that note, guys, thank you so much for joining us. Please press the like button and do subscribe to cricket.com. Apart from these previews, reviews, and mid innings shows, which we do specially for India games, there's a lot of other content that has been coming up from cricket.com on tour. There are fan cams, so please do follow it. There have been a couple of other special interviews. Do watch them. And if you like our content, do tell your friends and family, whoever are cricket fanatics, just like all of us, to follow us even on social media, whether it's X, Instagram, or Facebook. So, on that note, thank you for joining once again. We end the show right now to watch a great game, hoping that if it's not okay, let's listen to Oreo today and let's not make any wild predictions.